The first bell had just rung at Ridgeway High Academy, and the hallways buzzed with that familiar chaos, lockers slamming, sneakers squeaking, and the constant hum of teenage chatter that filled the air like static. No one noticed the girl standing quietly by locker 27. She was new, she looked fragile, and she had no idea what this school was really like. Her name was Aria Lane, transferred mid-semester, carrying a black backpack that looked too heavy for her small frame. Her hair fell like a curtain over her face, hiding the quiet determination in her eyes. She didn't talk much, but there was something about her that felt off. Not in a bad way, just different. The kind of quiet that carried stories no one wanted to tell. Aria's first morning had already been strange. The principal smiled too wide. The teachers seemed overly polite. Even the janitor gave her a nod, as if he knew something others didn't. But high school doesn't care about mysteries, it only cares about attention, popularity, and power. That's why, by second period, Brianna Cole, the self-appointed queen of Ridgeway High, had already decided she didn't like the new girl. Brianna ran the school like a stage, and no one outshined her spotlight. She's weird, Brianna whispered to her friends, Tessa and Liam, as they watched Aria eating lunch alone at the far table. No phone. No social media. Who even is she? Liam chuckled, tossing a grape into his mouth. Probably homeschooled. Or in witness protection. The table erupted in laughter, cruel, shallow, contagious. Aria didn't react. She simply kept her head down, carefully unpacking her lunch, a sandwich wrapped in brown paper, an apple, and a small metal badge she kept tucked in her palm. She glanced at it for a second, a symbol shaped like a falcon with spread wings. Then she hid it again before anyone could see. Brianna noticed, and that sealed Aria's fate. That afternoon, when the final bell rang, Brianna and her crew followed Aria down the hallway. The school was nearly empty now, lockers echoing as students rushed out. Aria stopped at her locker, dialing the combination carefully. That's when she felt it, a presence behind her. Before she could turn, someone shoved her hard. The world spun. The metal door flew open. She stumbled backward, and in an instant, she was inside the locker. The door slammed shut, darkness, silence, the click of a padlock sealing from the outside. Her heart hammered in her chest. She pounded the inside with her fists. Let me out. Outside, laughter of footsteps fading, then silence again. Inside the locker, Aria took a deep breath. She wasn't crying. She wasn't panicking. She was calculating, because the truth was Aria Lane wasn't just a transfer student. She wasn't even supposed to be here. She was part of a classified protection program, placed undercover at Ridgeway after something went wrong in a government experiment 2 months earlier. The badge in her hand wasn't decoration, it was authorization. A silent signal that she was never to be harmed, or the consequences would be severe. But Brianna and her friends didn't know that, and now, the chain of events they had triggered couldn't be undone. Inside the locker, Aria tapped her thumb against the badge twice, a coded signal. The embedded chip lit faintly, sending a distress ping to an encrypted network. It was a security measure no one at the school could understand. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Outside, the hallway lights flickered, the school's surveillance system went darker across town. Inside a steel-reinforced command truck, an operator received a priority alert, code Falcon asset compromised. Location, Ridgeway High, mobilize SWAT Team Delta 1, a voice commanded. Non-lethal response authorized. Secure the subject at all costs. Back at Ridgeway, Brianna was still laughing with her friends near the parking lot, completely unaware that an armored convoy was racing toward the school. Meanwhile, inside the locker, Aria closed her eyes. She whispered something under her breath. Protocol 7, activate. Her bracelet glowed faintly blue. A soft hum filled the air. The locker's internal lock disengaged automatically with a mechanical click. She stepped out, calm, collected, eyes sharp like steel. The empty hallway looked surreal now, silent, cold, and echoing with tension. She knew what was coming. A voice crackled faintly through her bracelet. Aria, this is command. Response team inbound. Are you injured? She replied quietly, negative. But the civilians who initiated contact might be in danger. I advise containment protocol. Copy that. Stand by. Then, the sound hit, the heavy thud of boots, the distant roar of engines, and then, chaos. The front doors of Ridgeway High exploded open as SWAT operatives stormed the hallway, fully armed, shouting commands. This is a security operation. Everyone on the ground. Students screamed. Teachers ducked. Lockers banged open as frightened teens scattered like birds. Brianna froze mid-step as red laser sights danced across the walls. "Oh my God, what's happening?" she gasped. Tessa grabbed her hand. "Bree, we have to hide." But it was too late. The team was already in formation. "Where is the girl?" the commander barked. No one answered. Then, from the far end of the hall, Aria appeared. Her expression was unreadable. "Come." Almost royal, the SWAT team instantly lowered their weapons, assets secured, one of them said into his radio. Brianna's jaw dropped. "Wait, what? Asset? Who is she?" Aria looked directly at her, stepping closer until they were face to face. "You shouldn't have done that," she said softly. "You have no idea what you've just started." The words hung in the air like smoke. Behind her, the SWAT commander nodded. "Perimeter clear. Move her out." Aria turned once more before leaving, her eyes locked on Brianna's trembling hands. Then she whispered, "They warned you to be kind." And as she walked down the hall surrounded by the morning after the SWAT raid, Ridgeway High looked nothing like a school. Police tape crisscrossed the entrance. Reporters crowded outside the gates, shouting questions that no one dared answer. Inside, classrooms sat empty, lockers dented, floors littered with abandoned books. Every student had been sent home except three. Brianna Cole, Tessa Reeves, and Liam Hart. They were kept in the library for questioning, hands trembling around paper cups of water. The walls seemed to close in around them. A detective in a gray coat paced slowly. "So," he said, flipping through his notes, "you thought it was funny to lock a student in a locker?" "It was a prank," Brianna whispered. "We didn't mean." He slammed the file shut. "That prank triggered a federal response team and nearly caused a full-scale lockdown. You kids have no idea what you touched." Liam swallowed hard. "Sir, who is she? Why did the SWAT show up like that?" The detective's gaze hardened. "That information is classified." He turned to leave, but paused, leaning close enough for them to hear the chill in his voice. "And if you value your freedom, you'll never speak about her again." He left them in silence. Brianna stared at the floor, replaying the image of Aria's calm face as the SWAT team surrounded her. That wasn't fear she saw, it was control. "Power," Tessa whispered. "Bree, she said we started something." Brianna's hands clenched. "We did." Across town, in a secure underground facility, Aria Lane sat in a glass-walled room, a single bracelet still glowing faintly on her wrist. An older man entered. "Commander Holt, the one who led the SWAT unit, you were told not to engage," he said sharply. "Why signal a code, Falcon?" Aria's voice stayed calm. "Because the parameters changed. Someone tried to lock me in. They're teenagers." "They were pawns," she replied. "And pawns move only when the board shifts. Someone wanted that signal sent." Holt frowned. "You think it was bait?" "I know it was." She reached into her pocket and slid a small silver chip across the table. "I found this in my locker hinge. Government-grade transmitter. Not ours." The commander stared at it. "Then the Falcon Protocol's been compromised." Aria nodded slowly. "And Ridgeway High is the epicenter." Back at the academy, strange things began happening. Students who saw the raid started receiving anonymous texts. "The Falcon sees all. Do not speak of what you saw." A drone was spotted hovering above the football field at midnight. The security guard quit the next morning. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said Aria was a government agent, others said she was an alien. No one knew the truth, but everyone felt the tension twisting tighter each day. Brianna couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Aria's expression, those unblinking eyes that seemed to see through her. Finally, guilt won. She sneaked back into the school one evening, slipping under the tape and into the empty hallway. Her footsteps echoed softly. Locker 27 stood ahead, the same one she had locked. She hesitated, then touched the dented door. "I'm sorry," she whispered. A mechanical click answered her. The locker creaked open by itself. Inside was a folded piece of paper. Brianna unfolded it, heart racing.